Hello, weep grogna, weep ninnybong, my TF addicts, and welcome to yet another episode of This is a live stream series based on the ongoing and very severe topic of mental health. And this is something that I originally started as an update series compared to that of, exactly what it is to this day. I have had a very ongoing history with mental health, being diagnosed with a multitude of biological mental illnesses at the age of 4 years old, and still now continuing to develop more and more intensely as I age at the age of now 26 going on 27. So I am your host, TFA 1024, the TF Addict. I hope everyone's been doing well. I did originally have a plan to add a guest into this episode. However, due to personal reasons and overall feelings and emotions, I have decided to divert that for another possible episode. Which, speaking of today's episode is focused on hypocrisy, double standards, and arrogance. And also kind of semi-relating to ignorance as well, because that is something I have not discussed about for any of these potential or any of these current episodes in this live stream series. So, but hopefully everyone enjoys this. Hopefully you guys learn from this. Hopefully you apply some of this to your everyday life with people and relationships and whatnot. Disclaimer, I am not a licensed therapist. I'm not even in the psych field. So anything that I say, please do not take any of this as a medical professional advice. I am just a guy on the internet trying to find a proper, healthy, creative outlet for mental health struggles, and also helping people embrace their mental health, because that is something that a lot of people, especially in this day and age, really need to continue to do. Mental health matters. Mental health is health. So, first off, I want to begin this live stream by just this comment already. What are you getting at? What right do you have to tell me to do something, sir, and or madam, and or they? You're trying to tell me my room is... I mean, I know it's dirty, but, like, hush. No, I'm just kidding, Zardemis. We love you. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so. So this is a topic that I've actually been debating on doing for quite some time, because there's been a lot going on in my life in regards to literally everything that I talk about in this live stream series. Hypocrisy being a very big thing within my family, within all of my interactions with past friends, with current friends, with literally family, anyone. The only time I never really had to deal with that is, well, probably with my therapist and my girlfriend, and some friends, because they actually try to understand as opposed to try to tell me to do something and go and do it anyway, which, whatever. Double standards as well. That is one that has definitely been kind of thrown in my face quite often through the recent years. And it's something that I feel like a lot of people should talk about. And it's a lot of people, there are a lot of people who are exposed to that type of thing, which is very unfortunate. And then there's the big one, arrogance, which in a way kind of also ties into ignorance, because arrogance is nothing but aggressive ignorance. In my personal opinion, that's just how I feel, because that's just kind of how it is. So the big one, and I talked a little bit about this in my last episode, so please be sure to hit the card in the upper right-hand corner whenever this is live or on YouTube. After it's done, I mean, to my previous episode, which there will also be a playlist started very, very soon. I have not gotten around to it because I didn't even think about that. Hypocrisy. I touched upon this in last episode. I talked about how all of us in some way, shape, or form are capable of being hypocrites. Humans in general are hypocrites. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We will tell someone to not do something, and then we will progress to do it ourselves. That is just how that is. It could be anything from a harmless activity to something dangerous. And the reason I say that is because this is something that I've been constantly faced with growing up as a kid, which was always something that's sorry, you're gonna have to forgive me. My brain's kind of foggy. Uh, it's something that I've always been exposed to as a kid, and I feel like a lot of people have encountered hypocrisy in some way, shape, or form. There are people out there who would make fun of myself for doing this kind of thing, for collecting transformers and then proceeding to interact with other people. And I mean like this in school or something, where they would interact with people and basically be like, "Oh, well, I have this kind of nerdy, geeky hobby, and this is what it is," and they would proceed to tell it. And I never said anything because it's like not really my business. But in my mind, I'm thinking you're bashing on someone for doing something similar, yet you're doing the same thing. You are a hypocrite. You there are there are other instances as well where people are trying to preach about certain interactions and certain people in the Transformers community or just in life in general. And there are people out there who preach about trying to bring people together and make the community or make the world a better place, and then proceed to belittle and diminish others for whatever reason. And I did run into an instance where I was involved in a live stream series by another creator a while back, and they were the um, they were the ones that were trying to proceed to treat the community fair and try to make everyone feel better and try to bring everyone together, which is something that I've aimed to do for years. This was a big reason as to why I wanted to be part of the Transformers community. And unfortunately, the next or so episodes with the intent to share your opinions and such proceeded to belittle and shame those opinions and made fun of them and everything, which in my head that didn't add up. So by doing that and by putting other people's viewpoints and everything down in a certain way, that is hypocrisy. You say to do one thing, you say to try to bring the community together and just not get so serious over toys. And then those views and those ideologies and those perspectives end up kind of overshadowing the main thing, and then proceed to put other people down just because someone likes mainline compared to third party, or they prefer third party to masterpiece or whatever. You're a hypocrite. It's just the way it is. There's a wonderful saying out there that I believe every person should live by, because as long as you're not hurting yourself or others, there is absolutely no need to spread that type of perspective or that type of interaction. I can't exactly find the right words. You're gonna have to I'm making this up as I go. There's no teleprompter, there's no script or anything. This is all like completely impromptu. So forgive me. Again, I'm not a professional. But you're spreading that message. Like there's no need for that. It's more so a case of you're just being a hypocrite. And that's fine. You can be a hypocrite, but own it. Don't say one thing and then proceed to do the other. That's literally the definition of a hypocrisy. Is literally, I am actually looking it up just to make sure that I get the information correctly. The practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's behavior does not conform or pretense. So his target was the hypocrisy of suburban life. So yeah, certain beliefs, attitudes, or feelings when they really do not. There you go. That's the definition of hypocrisy. And I think that's very fitting because that's how, unfortunately, pretty much almost every human being on this planet is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as you're learning to adjust it and you're trying to better that. Because people with hypocrisy can actually be very damaging to one's mental health. I'm running out of examples other than the current one I just messaged up, or I mentioned about how people try to bring the community together and then proceed to put down others based on their viewpoints and such. That's the only one that really comes to mind. And it's unfortunate too that that is something that happens and that is something that people do. Um, I guess other instances would be, again, nothing's coming to me. Good Lord. If you have any, please let me know in the live chat. I will be more than happy to share them. If you've had a hypocritical experience or a moment of hypocrisy, share them down in the live chat. I will not. Well, either way, the identity would be revealed, because if I'm reading the comment, other people can see the live chat. But yeah, I guess that's kind of a good way to segue into our next topic, which is double standards, which in a way ties into hypocrisy, because this is the whole thing I was saying earlier about how someone can have a geeky hobby. Like, someone got onto me, made fun of me, harassed me for being into Transformers so much, and then they would proceed to have their own hobby that was equally or differently geeky or nerdy. That's kind of a double standard right there. The reason this is brought up is because this is one that has definitely been a big part of my life as well, unfortunately. Here, little brief history. I always tell this story, and I always will, because I'm rather proud of this, and this is something that will help kind of emphasize and build up upon what I'm about to say. I've been a caregiver to my late mother, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago on March 19th of 2020. And my current father, who's still with me for 13 years, going on 14 now, with my dad still around. I have had moments where I would be simply doing what I am supposed to do, like everyone in my family would tell me to do, about, take good care of mom and dad. And the minute that I grew past a certain age, they insisted that I try to get my life going by possibly getting employment, by trying to get my own income, because they thought I was just taking money from my folks. That is not the case. I earned that money. That is a thing that was between me and my family. If you have judgment on that, so be it. I cannot control what you think, and I do not want to control what you think, but I will let you know I earned it. And that is something that my family and I settled on, because I needed an income and I wanted to start buying my own stuff. And so I did. And also, don't throw that whole, oh, well, it's your parents' money, so you're not really buying anything. Bullshit. The moment that money becomes in your bank account and is given to you, that is your ownership. No one has any right to say anything else. It's simply that. It is yours. It doesn't matter where it came from. The occupant is what matters. So, as I was going there, family started to get on me about just kind of staying at home, taking care of my folks, because I guess they thought I was living off of them or something, which, I mean, I was still currently trying to get through high school. And they proceeded to tell me to try to get a job and stop getting money off my folks. This then led to the dilemma of, well, you want me to take care of mom and dad. How am I supposed to do that and be at work at the same time? Who would be here? And in short, here's the answer. No one. I was literally the only person who was here 24/7, 365 days a year, to give them the care and the attention that they needed to survive. It only became more intense to a certain point when my mother's health began to decline. And unfortunately, that's where we had to get her to undergo hospice care, which is when nurses and doctors started coming to the house to take care of her, to make sure she got her medicine, to make sure that she was okay, and all of that, which was a painful sight to see, because I never imagined that she would be on hospice, and it broke my heart, because I felt so helpless. Another double standard on that as well is when people tell me to not be such a big kid and then proceed to be one themselves. So the minute that I start buying figures, despite having my bills paid, that's clearly wrong. But the minute someone else does it, that's completely okay. Which I find absolute bullshit. Anyone out there who has gotten on to you about that type of thing, who made you feel as though you are doing something wrong, whereas they proceed to do the same exact thing, is totally in the wrong. There's no reason as to why anyone should try to control what someone else does. And I will keep preaching this. As long as you are not hurting yourself or others, you have a right to live your life the way that you want to live it. If you want to spend your money on the stuff that you enjoy, that you like, or stuff you couldn't get as a kid, you are very much entitled to do that, as long as it is not hurting yourself or others. Period. Someone else could totally have a different viewpoint on that. I full-heartedly encourage that. However, do not let it obstruct your vision of someone else's perspective. If that makes any sense. Because the moment I said that, that didn't really sit right with me. I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying, though. It is such a damaging thing to be told to not do something where someone else does it. It is incredibly unfair and invalidating to try to restrain someone from doing something they enjoy while others are able to do the same thing. It does not matter what you do in your life. It is your life. If anyone has a problem with that, they can rightfully fuck off. I do not care who it is. I don't care who said what. It does not matter. It is your life. You are intended to live it the way that you want to live it. If it's family, guess what? Even that doesn't matter. Because family can be blood. And they can still do that shit to you. Family can be blood and they can still damage you. And I don't know everyone's parents' relationships. I don't know their guardian relationships. And to be frank, it's none of my business. If you want to share that, then by all means, I encourage you to do so if you're comfortable enough. This is not a matter of being soft. It's not a matter of being too sensitive. It's not a matter of being entitled. It is common decency as a human being to do the stuff that we want to do and to be respected for it. And what I mean by respect is mutual respect. I'm not asking anyone to bow down and treat someone else like they're made of gold, like fucking King Midas or something. It's not a matter of having to constantly display that amount of respect, treat someone with kindness and they treat you like dirt. No, it is literally a matter of coexisting respect, mutual. It is a two-way street, yes. However, mutual respect should always be given. You cannot like someone, but you can respect their existence. You can respect their choices. You can respect their appearance. It is not that hard. Which brings me to my final one, arrogance. Which again is nothing but aggressive ignorance. There are people out there who fail to understand the very importance and the severity and the gravitas of mental health. There are people out there who do not acknowledge the fact that mental health is different for everyone. Every mental biological disorder or illness, such as ADHD, bipolar, OCD, Asperger's syndrome, actually, I think that one got nullified, but autism, basically. Anything like that can have a very different effect on a person depending on the biology or the genetics behind it. And you would be surprised how far it goes into the family bloodline. Refusing to learn about it or acknowledge the sheer fact that it is different for other people, that it is different for other people is downright ignorant. Continuing to display this malicious, malevolent attitude towards trying to back up your facts, quote unquote facts. The fact that because you have it, someone else is supposed to be the same ain't right. It is called the autism spectrum for a reason. It doesn't matter how long you've worked. It doesn't matter what your behaviors are compared to someone else's. It's different for everyone. It's not a matter of you can stick your nose above everyone else and act all snooty and act all know it all about it and think everyone else is wrong and you're right. No, you're being ignorant and you're being arrogant and you need to stop. That type of behavior is very damaging to others who are simply just trying to exist. Mental health and mental illnesses are no joke. There are people out there who struggle significantly to try to interact with other people, who try to contribute to be part of society, to try to be part of other people's lives. I have been very fortunate enough to have been treated exactly the same way as I would treat someone else within the community that we have forged together for years. And I've been very grateful to it as well. The phrase, "it is not an excuse, it is an explanation," is the most valid piece of the English language to people of neurodivergency. Period. If anyone out there is invalidating you, speak up. If anyone out there is putting you down, making you feel bad for your mental illnesses, stand up. If you're the one doing that to someone else, shut up. No one knows the battle that people face day to day. Some people don't even make it day to day. There are people who give in to that little voice in the back of their head and unfortunately take their life. And it is one of the saddest things about the world is the sheer fact that despite every person doing the same thing in terms of, or for working, for just trying to live their lives, the first instinct we have is don't support each other, go for each other's throats. We're still dealing with racism to this day. Mental health has been addressed because of COVID, because it took a pandemic to address mental health. Yeah, we had Autism Speaks for a while, and I don't really like associating that name with anything part of me because there's a whole history behind that whole organization, which I'm not going to get into. But what I will advise is that you guys go check out ADHD Everything on Instagram and on Twitch, on YouTube. The guy, Spaz, that's what he goes by. Spaz/Squirrel Dad. That guy, he's not even a therapist or anything, but he knows his shit. He's done the research. He is easily one of my favorite mental health accounts on the internet. That dude has never made me feel more seen nor heard by anyone else on this planet. And a bonus shout out to TFI Creations as well, because back in the day, and I've said this before as well, back when we used to talk often and such, he was one of the very first people to actually help me embrace my mental illnesses and everything. Because when I was younger, I would always try to play them off as like I never had them. I just wanted to be normal because I thought that's what normal was, is just having nothing wrong with you. And it's from that the normality that you have those flaws. You could be skinny, you could be fat, you could be black, you could be white, you could be Asian, you could be gay, straight. The term normal is relative, just like how time is a concept. Because if everyone was normal, there would be more than millions upon billions of different versions of normals on this planet, to which there actually are. There is no one singular normal. You're normal in your own way. It's relative. What's normal to you may not be normal to someone else. And that's fine. That's just part of being human. It's exactly what it is to be human. Just be yourself. It's finding those people that love and accept you for you that are worth it. So if you are in a relationship, whether it be platonic or whether it be with a significant other, and you are facing any of this hypocrisy, double standards, arrogance, speak out. and speak loud. Because while you think your voice may not be heard, you'd be surprised how many voices would be inspired to have the courage to do that. And the entire reason why I've been doing it to this day is because of the incident that I had in 2020 where I was contemplating taking my life over a live stream on Instagram. And two friends of mine proceeded to get me admitted into a mental hospital for my own safety because they were beyond scared that I was going to do something. Let me be honest, I am a chicken shit. I ain't going to do anything. Even if I preach about wanting to do it and such, I will never do it. However, I will say I feel like doing it, but I never will, and I never have a plan. Because I do want to see life out. No matter how dark and how bleak it can be, it doesn't have to be that way. And there are people out there who tell me I have like a childlike innocence or a fairy tale perspective, but I look at it as hopeful optimism because I want to see that world. I want to make that world. I want to be able to do what other people are not able to do or what people are currently trying to do and just make the world a slightly better place. Even if it's just spreading joy through the Transformers community. In my eyes, if I'm making people happy by just simply being myself, by sharing about Transformers news and making stop motions and all that, I think that I'm doing the right thing. I think that that would be my purpose. By being here taking care of my dad, despite the fact that I'm not quote unquote providing, because apparently provision is dictated by being a breadwinner or being a person who makes a large amount of money or providing financial support. Apparently love and care aren't good enough. I guess that shows a little bit about your character. uh, it, we're all just trying to do our thing. Anyone out there who tries to take that away from you, I mean, get a life. Honestly, like, there's so much toxicity and so much hate in the world, and if you're going to contribute to that, you need to reevaluate yourself. You need to try to understand things from other people's perspectives and not what you're going through. Not that what you're going through isn't as important or anything, because again, there's no invalidation, there's no belittlement or diminishing here. And the whole phrase, you know, someone has it worse, that needs to stop. Things need to stop being a competition. The same thing can be said with like if someone works and they kind of just throw that in your face and tell you like, oh, all you do is stay at home all day. I worked like 40 hours. It's like, it doesn't matter. I'm still spending the same amount of time doing what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it, because that's what I can do. You're doing it because that's what you do. There's no right or wrong way to really live life, again, as long as you are not hurting yourself or others. If you are an alcoholic and it is harming you and it is causing you liver failure or something, don't do it. If you're smoking and you're getting COPD or emphysema, stop it. I know it's easier said than done. Addiction is a thing and it's a powerful thing, but you have the power to overcome it. There are people out there who don't even leave their house, people who are agoraphobic, who don't even take part in society. There are people out there who don't do it by choice. It's not wrong. And there are people out there who just pick on them for being that way, for not trying to understand, for not giving them that support, for not giving them that love, that compassion, for being arrogant, for being ignorant. The way the world is to this day breaks my heart. And I would love to see it change. I'd love to be part of that change. The last couple of years, I've been fortunate enough to be part of the Transformers community in ways that I never thought I'd be able to be part of it. I've made amazing friends. I've made a community safe for everyone. I've brought people together because that's just how the world should be. There is so much division and segregation based off of appearance, based on mentality, based on sexuality, and it breaks my fucking heart. Whatever your perspective is on any of those matters shouldn't matter. What should matter is just being there for one another, respecting each other as human beings, because that is exactly what we are. And again, we're not flawless. All of us are flawed in some way, shape, or form. We can all be hypocrites. We can all be arrogant. We can all possess double standards. That's how we are. The difference from staying that way is to learn, to acknowledge it, and to adapt it, to change that, and to change it for the better. This is no different than the whole trolling isn't okay live stream. Because unfortunately, everything relating to mental health, people have been suffered to bullying, to hypocrisy, to double standards and arrogance, to ignorance, to aggression. I still have vivid memories about hearing people, kids, on the news, take their lives because there were other people cyberbullying them on the internet. I think there was one girl who was like 9 years old who took her life just because she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle being harassed and bullied. There are twisted people out there too, unfortunately. People who require a little more intensive care, more so than more so than someone who just kind of needs a therapist and needs a guide. The school shootings and everything, those, I mean, I can't exactly remember the full thing, but I think it was like a 14-year-old who went to a Texas elementary school and shot and killed a good amount of people. And something in my mind just had me wonder, like, what happened to that person to cause them to do that? Was that like what happened? It's really unfortunate. And I genuinely wish that there are times where we could just come together as people and respect each other's choices and do the things that we were supposed to do as people as a whole. Just come together and just coexist on this planet. Because the sad thing is, we only got one, and not everyone survives a certain way. It's a really sad thing. I'm kind of just saying the same stuff over and over again, but that's beside the point. Like I said, these are impromptu. I don't have anything ever prepared for these. I just had the topic at hand. And I want to let everyone know that I'm not saying any of this and addressing the scenarios that have happened to me personally for the sake of sympathy or for the sake of trying to make it seem like I'm trying to demonize the people that were involved or the people who did that to me. I'm simply just telling a story. How they respond is up to them. And I'd like to believe that they're just going to acknowledge it and then just kind of let it slip by. Because the last thing I want to do is try to demonize anyone anymore. I'm a pacifist. I don't like confrontation of any kind. Even if someone is trying to prove how I am as someone to someone else because they saw something that had my name on it or something like that. I'd like to believe people know me better than that. And I'd also like to believe that people know that others can change. Granted, it doesn't have to be like a big drastic change. It can just be something as simple as I started taking accountability for my actions, or I stopped talking about public or private drama on a public forum. It That's change, but I feel like that's a topic for another time. So I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know if this is even going to make an impact on anyone, and I'd like to believe it would. But whatever it is you're going through, there's no scale and there's no quantity or quantification of who has it worse or anything like that. Your pain, your struggle, everything about you is valid. There's no cap on that. It is valid 100%. And to the person who recently just joined this, thinking that, oh, you made an account just a few moments ago or whatever, and you think it's okay to come onto someone else's live stream with that type of behavior and oh, I'm sorry, you made this in April. To think you can come on a public forum and a public platform and just say the stuff that you said, you're part of the problem. You are absolutely 100% part of the problem. And it's sad that you dedicate time like that just to put someone else down and to make someone else feel bad just because they're talking about a topic that is very much relative, even that to you. To which I say, whatever it is you're going through, whatever it is that you have faced or you're currently facing, I hope you overcome it. I hope you find the courage and the drive and the motivation to move forward. I hope you're doing well in life. Because that's the difference between me and some people. Other people would just say, you know, fuck off, go touch grass, all that type of bullshit. But me, I don't need that aggression. I'm not going to deliver that aggression. What I will say is that you should probably reevaluate what you've done in that live chat or in this comment section right now. Look back at it and think, was this the right thing to do? Was this something that needed to be done? Did I really have to go to some rando person that I don't even know and call them a quote unquote weak bitch? Did you have to come in here and say, who the fuck is this? And I'm not going to say your name because you don't deserve that acknowledgement. No. But you are part of the problem. And if you've done this to others, I hope you learn. And I hope something happens to where you get an understanding from the recipient type of you. Because there is a thing called karma, and it will come for you, and you will get your comeuppance. So learn from this. I'm sorry that our interaction had to go this way, but yeah. But anyway. I think that people really just need to stop being so trying to think of the best word to describe this because it's very hard. I don't want to say serious. I really don't want to say serious, but I think people need to stop taking things so personally when it comes to how others live their lives. I've seen a lot of stupid shit in this community and online in general, and it's sad to see what other people can do to each other. Because I had this whole video planned on Instagram that I tried making more than once, and the thing about that too is that was hard for me to make because I kept that was hard for me to make because it's one of those just it's a personal type of thing because when people are on the internet, they believe that there is no consequences whatsoever. They think they can do and say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they please, and there will be nothing wrong. The video simply consisted of me saying there are human beings behind these accounts, unless you're a bot, which I like to believe no one in this live chat is currently a bot or in the comment section. It proceeded to go, that person that you called fat is now questioning if they'll be attractive for a partner, or is now overeating, or has developed an eating disorder. The person that you called stupid is currently breaking down or has currently killed himself. And it proceeded to go along the lines of that because there are people out there who just do not care what they say or do to other individuals. And it is such a heartbreaking thing. It's like you have to step on eggshells around everyone else just to be yourself. And don't even get me started on the moral complexes of people because I'm not going to be one of those type of people where I want to stand on a soapbox and then help someone just to make myself feel better about myself. Like the people out there who brag about like donating to a charity or giving to a cause. It's like, "Oh, I did this and I want other people to be happy about it." It's like not everything needs to be documented or said. So some things are actually better off to left for themselves. Unless it had like meaning to you. Like for example, I surprisingly down here in my town, we have a slight homeless problem down here. I've seen a couple people on the street holding up like, will take anything type signs where when it comes to food or clothes or anything. And my dad and I were leaving a Walmart a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, rather. But either way, this is a true story. And as we were leaving, I had a couple of grandma's cookies, the grandma's brand cookies, those really good ones. And I saw a guy holding up one of those signs, and he did not look good. He looked like he hadn't bathed or anything in a while, and it kind of broke my heart. And his sign said he'd take anything. So I asked my dad to pull over, and I wanted to give him one of my cookies because I thought, hey, you're down on your luck, and maybe this little bit of kindness will be like a butterfly effect, and other people will, be kind to you and help you out a little bit because today's modern day and age, especially with society the way it is that you are basically programmed to fend for yourself. And the economy and everything doesn't exactly help matters either. It's very sad. It's very difficult. There are people out there like myself who are stuck in certain situations that we just can't get out of. Like I said, I've been a caregiver for 13 years, going on 14. And yeah, I've had other people tell me, why don't you put your dad in a retirement home, or why don't you move out or get a job? And it's like, well, on top of all the mental disorders and everything that I have, I can't up and do that. There are people who try to tell me to manage my anxiety by simply going outside or stop eating candy and sugar, and it's like wrong type of anxiety, but okay. There are people out there who fail to learn about mental illness of any kind. And it should not be like that whatsoever. And that's just unfortunately the way it is, but we can make it better. simply accepting one another, regardless of how they are as a person, when it comes to skin or sexuality or mentality. What you think may have a little effect or a little impact can go a long way for someone. And I want to say wholeheartedly, I have been very grateful to every single one of you who have allowed me to be in your lives, who have allowed me to tell my story and to share my life and to try to help you guys understand how I am as a person. I know I am more than I am a Transformers content creator, but I am still a human being. And behind this account, and behind all of your accounts, so are all of you. There is no need for an iron fist when an open hand is so much better. And something I also want to mention real quick, because per his request and for the sake of identity, I'm not going to name them. So, a friend of mine told me to mention this during a live stream, and I think I did a little bit earlier about the whole mental hospital thing. And apparently, based on current knowledge, he was attacked for helping me that way because he was scared for my life. And him and my other friend, well, our mutual friend. Well, we're all three of us are friends, but I don't know how else to word it. But like I said, my friends were both attacked for doing that. Apparently, 3 individuals were involved. Again, I'm not going to name names, but apparently there are individuals involved that I know of who messaged both of my other friends and just kind of went after them for putting me in a mental hospital and getting me help. Now, I will say this: if the moment you hear saying someone that they want to take their life or something, do not, as your immediate resort, make it someone else's problem by putting them in a mental hospital. Talk to them. Because during those instances, when I was saying it and I was talking and I was already emotional and everything, I was venting. I was simply venting. I did not have any intention to harm myself or others. I had no intention to take my life. I was simply getting stuff off my chest. There is absolutely no excuse to get someone hospitalized just because you don't want to put up with it. And that has happened to me a lot. Always, always, always talk to the people instead of doing that. Because let me tell you what happens when someone gets admitted to a mental hospital against their will. And thankfully, this is going to change, apparently, thanks to a lot of the mental health addressing that has been going on in these recent years. But when it happened to me, there were people from law enforcement who came to my door, asked for my name and all of my information, and told me that I have been anonymously reported as a suicide risk. What led as a mental health wellness check led to me being admitted into a hospital per the Baker Act, which is something in the laws that say if someone deems that you are unsafe to be at home for yourself or others, you have to be admitted into a mental hospital. You have to seek professional help. First off, let me tell you this: those places don't always help. I have had only 2 instances where I went and they actually did something. Every other time when I was a kid, it gave me more and more trauma. From being in the back of an ambulance to being in the back of a police car to get admitted is such an experience that I really do not wish upon any of my enemies or anyone that I know of, because it is scary shit. Thankfully, that may not happen anymore now that they're changing that, because I think they're trying to make it to where the people from those facilities will come to the home and do a wellness check and hopefully not just Baker Act you. I can't tell you how much that bothers me. And I can't tell you how much I get so iffy in talking about this type of stuff, because per my anxiety, I always fear that someone is just going to randomly call local law enforcement and say this and make a false report, and all of a sudden I have more cops coming to my door. You know, the whole swatting thing that happens to gamers and such, well, that's kind of the equivalent of it, but not as intense. But it's still scary because no one wants to deal with the law. No one wants law enforcement of any kind to be at their home for whatever it is they thought they did. And from there, they do just kind of strip you away from your home, and you're expected to stay at a mental hospital for 72 hours, or the doctor can keep you there longer, depending on, well, if you've been there within more than a year or so. And they can think, oh, well, you've been here for the same thing before, so we're going to keep you longer. And then, if they even deem you to stay even longer than that, they can take you to a court where a judge can have it court ordered to where you have to stay in that facility even longer. Thankfully, I've only been in those places for about 2 weeks at tops. But it is scary shit. And I do not wish that upon anyone. So I'm going to say this again. Do not do that to people. Talk to them. Talking and listening is so much better. Because, yeah, you are helping someone by getting them professional help. However, professional help may not be what they always need. Sometimes they could just need someone to listen, to talk to, a trusted friend, a family member. Little stuff like that really does go a long way. And don't be like one of those people where it's like, oh, well, if you need me, I'm here for you. If you need anything, just message me. And then if you get too scared and then you make that call, guess what? That's hypocrisy. that's literally, that's a hypocrite. I've had it happen to me way more times. I wish it didn't happen to me, but that's just how it is, unfortunately. I don't know exactly why people feel that a mental hospital is the best place for people, but whatever. But I hope that people understand that that is not something that you should do. I hope it doesn't happen anymore because I've been pretty stable. And I hope to the people that you interact with have been stable as well. I hope they're safe. I hope they're happy, or at least content. I don't know who could be happy in this day and age right now unless you're rich, because everything boils back down to money. But I feel like that's a totally different video in general. What I will say, to close us off, is that if you have gone through any of what we addressed here in today's episode, I hope that you address that to the people who were involved. And if they refuse to change that type of viewpoint, regardless if they are family, regardless if they are friends, do yourself and your brain a favor, your emotions, your feelings, everything. Do what's best for you. If they have any animosity, or if they have any resentment towards you, or if they hold any aggression for your choice, that's on them. Are you going to feel bad for a while? Yeah, absolutely. I have moments where I still feel bad about pushing some people out and having people cut ties with me just because of stupid bullshit. But guess what? Life goes on. Does it hurt? Absolutely. Are you constantly paranoid? Well, I can't speak for everyone, but am I constantly paranoid about people talking shit about me and trying to spread crap that isn't true? Yeah, 100%. Because guess what? It's the internet, and people will sadly do that. It's just a matter of staying true to who you are, knowing that person, knowing exactly how they are like, regardless if someone tries to falsify something with your name or with your profile image. I would like to believe that people are smart enough to know that just because someone's name is tied to something doesn't make it true. What's one of the first rules on the internet? Do not believe everything you read. Do your research. Fact check it. Make sure that you know who that person is before you start saying other stuff and think that, oh, this is how they truly are or something. and I've said this before as well, I am a pacifist. I do not like confrontation. I will put up my shield. I will never raise a fist. I will never swing a sword or pull a trigger. I will just defend myself. And I do plan on doing an episode about victimizing and everything like that, and being the victim and playing the victim. And I definitely want to do an episode like that. But like I said, that's kind of getting off topic right now. But I hope that everyone here has learned. I hope that you apply that knowledge to whatever interaction you have with another person, regardless if it's a friendship, relationship, if it's a family member, whatever it is. I hope you learn that your mental health matters. I'm kind of running out of things to say, if I'm being honest. Like I said, these are all impromptu. I'm not a professional. I'm not even a medical professional. I'm just a guy on the internet just trying to make it just a little bit better. And I hope that everyone will continue to do the same by using what they learned here, or if they already learned it, and just apply it to their everyday life. Because we really need to start bringing people together rather than tearing people apart. Not saying any of you guys here do it, aside from that one person who I already removed. Because he seems like that type of person. But again, I don't know. I don't know that person. I hope they're doing well. I hope they do well. But again, that's beside the point. What I'll end this off on is simply this: hypocrisy, double standards, and arrogance, as well as ignorance, are all damaging to people. However, it should also not have that much of an impact on your life. People need to learn to live and let live. There are going to be mistakes made, hundreds of mistakes, thousands of mistakes. There are going to be poor decisions. There are going to be moments where you end up being the hypocrite. But if you learn from it, and if you change that, I like to believe that's all that matters. So we're almost at an hour, so I think I'm going to cut it here. I do apologize if I kind of trailed off a little bit, or if I didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like I said, all of these are impromptu. My brain is not as coherent as a lot of others out there. And let me tell you, ADHD with social anxiety and regular anxiety and all these other intense emotions that I feel constantly, and these thoughts and racing and foggy mind, it's a combination. It's not one that anyone should enjoy or end up enduring. But unfortunately, I was just dealt that hand, and I can't really do anything. So there's that. But I do want to give a brief shout out to everyone in the live chat for tuning in and hanging out, and everyone who's still watching and hasn't left a comment. Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out as well. I really do appreciate it, and I'm very glad that a lot of you have joined, and I hope that everyone has learned, and I hope that people will apply this to their next engagement with another person, or if they're currently facing toxic people in their life and they learn to kind of cut ties there and move forward. I really hope that a lot of this more so embraces others of the neurodivergency to speak out and stand up for yourself, as well as for those who cannot fight for themselves, because not everyone has that courage to do so. And as my role model and my hero being Optimus Prime, one who does stand up for people and inspires people to fight for themselves, and even fights for the people who can't fight for themselves, Not saying I'm Optimus. I'm more of a hot rod. But that's the type of behavior and that's the type of message that people should be sending throughout their years. 100%. Because every person behind a YouTube account, except for bots, are human. What you say can have a detrimental effect on their mental health. It's not a matter of being sensitive. It's not a matter of being soft. It especially is not a matter of being entitled. The only thing you are entitled to is decent, common decency and respect, mutual respect as human beings. You don't have to like them. You don't have to idolize them. You can simply just respect them. That's just that. I am also going to make this very clear as well. I do not tolerate any kind of negativity or bullying, as I have since demonstrated in this episode. Without naming the person who has been on this live stream who is spouting their negativity and toxicity has since been taken care of. I do not tolerate that type of behavior on any of my videos or any of my interactions with you. If you are coming to me to be disrespectful, you will be blocked. There's no talking your way out of it. You can make a story about me. You can call me a shithead. You can make a post about me. I don't care. But I'm not going to tolerate it. There is nothing wrong with asking to be treated fairly as a person. There is absolutely nothing wrong with asking to be respected as a human being. It's how it should be. That's just how it should be. So, with all that out of the way, I sincerely want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and hanging out with me. I, once again, want to apologize for my lack of consistency and trailing off and such. It is very difficult for me to kind of continue at such a steady pace when my mind is racing more faster than my head or my mouth. And again, the social anxiety aspect also doesn't really help because I don't know if you noticed, but those couple of times I was saying, excuse me, I was kind of like developing some literal physical anxiety. Like my chest is kind of slightly tightening up. My throat was closing up just a little bit. It's hard for me to talk about this kind of stuff, but it's also worth it because I can then inspire other people to talk about it. And I can also help people who are currently dealing with similar things. To which I hope to those people who are dealing with those similar things that you're able to overcome it and just be able to be treated fairly like anyone else, because kindness costs absolutely nothing. It doesn't. There's no price on it, but it's one of the most valuable things on this planet. And it's such a shame to see all that go to the point of people bullying one another or making fun of each other or putting each other down for whatever stupid reason. And I know I can't control anyone. I don't want to control anyone. But it would be so much nicer if we could all just understand each other and get along. And if we can't at least understand each other, just respect each other mutually. So, yeah. I think that's pretty much it from me, unfortunately. I know it's been a little bit since I made my own videos. I know that I've kind of gone back to the whole streaming thing because it's easier for me and it doesn't require a lot of time and effort, and my interest doesn't get lost as quickly. But I do still plan to make actual videos. In fact, I've actually posted some sneak peeks up on my Instagram for some thumbnails that I made. And I do want to plan on them to make them very soon. However, I do still need to finish cleaning up the house and everything and make this place look more like a home. And also put up all my figures because I did say I was going to do a collection video. So I still want to do that as well. I don't know when, though. I've been slowly chipping away at it. It's a struggle, but it's one that I have to overcome. So remember what was said here. If you can't remember it, hey, feel free to come back and watch it. I strongly encourage it. I will say on Saturday, July 24th, I will be part of or 23rd. I will be part of a panel on TF Reviewers. We are going to be reviewing or putting up a tier list for the Transformers Combiner Wars toy line. So I will leave a link to TF Reviewers and everyone down in the comment section or down in the description down below. And on the 21st, or even roughly on the following Sunday, I will be doing a San Diego Comic-Con live stream panel as well for TFTC, because we got a lot of Transformers stuff on the way. Earthspark is going to be talked about. Some reveals for next year are going to be shown. I assume there might be some stuff on Rise of the Beasts, maybe a video game news or something like that. I don't know, but here's hoping. Either way, I do plan on doing an SDCC panel on TFTC on the following Saturday or Sunday. Most likely Sunday, the 24th. So stay tuned for that. And that's honestly all I can really say that I'm able to make right now, because like I said, I still want to kind of try to take care of everything else here at home, because being a caregiver supersedes being a content creator. But I do want to ask and also encourage you guys, if you want to see more of what I do, please feel free to follow me on Instagram. That's instagram.com/TFA1024. If you want to see more news-related stuff and more figure photography stuff, please also check out my backup page on Instagram. That's instagram.com/TheTFAddict. I haven't posted there often, but I will try and post there more as soon as I possibly can. And also, please feel free to hit that like button if you want to see more of I Still Function. Please be sure to comment your story and everything down in the comment section down below. Don't be afraid. I mean, yeah, it's a public forum, but I promise you, if there's any bullying towards you of any kind whatsoever, the comments will be deleted, the users will be blocked, and we move forward with our lives. This is a safe space on my channel and in our community. It is a safe space for you to talk about that stuff. And the whole reason I've made I Still Function is to encourage people to tell their story and to share their feelings and to identify the stuff that they've dealt with, and to hopefully find comfort that they are not alone. As cliche as that sounds, there is no truer statement than that. You are not alone. There are people who go through the same stuff, albeit sometimes it might be more, it might be less. Again, there's no quantity or scale. But regardless, we all go through the same stuff eventually. So please, I cannot encourage this enough. Please comment down in the comment section down below with anything relating to this episode, this topic. If you want to talk about your day and you've dealt with one of these things, feel free to do so. And as usual, if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't already, please hit that big red subscribe button and turn on that bell notification for more. I'm also going to be starting up my Twitch account, because I actually do have a Twitch. I just don't know what to do with it, but that's something I'll talk about a little later. I'm not going to leave a link to that, but it's there, apparently. I do have a Twitch, so yeah, keep that in mind for some time. This is one of those instances where it's like everything's live. The camera or the mic is on, so talk. Ugh, I hate it. But I hope everyone here enjoyed this episode. Again, I'm sorry this was not as professional as I wanted it to be. It's not as like concrete as I wanted it to be. However, also keep in mind, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not in the psych field. So please do not take anything that I say for professional help or anything. I'm just a guy using this platform for a creative way to express mental health and to embrace and encourage other people to talk about theirs as well. Nothing more, nothing less. But with all that being said, everyone, thanks very much for tuning in and hanging out with me. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge all of the live chat, but do know I have been reading the comments and I have been seeing who's been popping in and who's staying and who's been leaving. So thank you all very much for tuning in, hanging out with me on this Tuesday night. So, yeah. Anyway, please take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Be kind to one another. Stay happy. Stay healthy. Stay safe. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Until then, until all is fun. And I'll catch you guys next time on another episode of I Still Function. Good night.